You know, I heard some brothers kicking some game the other day. I was listening to an old Last Poets tape. You know what I'm saying? They had this poem called Niggas Are Scared of Revolution. That was about 30 years ago. And niggas are still scared of revolution. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Niggas wanna get their groove on. Niggas wanna hit the clubs religiously. Niggas go to more clubs than they pray to God. You know what I'm saying? Niggas want funk. Niggas want hella funk. But when it's time to start some funk with the man, niggas somewhere getting funked up. Niggas love that dank. They love the way that dank stank. But there's nothing greater than the smell of dead bodies in a revolution. The smell of success. The smell of one less motherfucker dominating you. But niggas are still scared of revolution. Niggas rather prostitute. Niggas rather be institutionalized. When will niggas realize that we need an institution of niggas turning into black men and African Americans? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing changed. It's been 30 years. We hearing remixes of shit we done heard 30 years ago. Cause we like to just go in circles. You know what I'm saying? Get that ride. Take it around the block. Never to the other side of town. Niggas are scared of revolution. And it makes me wear a cold frown. Niggas like to get down. Niggas like to freestyle. Niggas love getting 40s. But if I had 40 niggas, I could take over some shit. But hey, y'all are scared yourself to the point you have no wits. Niggas are scared of revolution, and it won't be televised. My brother Gil Scott said, there's a lot of niggas around today. Where are all the black folks? Where are all the African Americans? May I speak ebonically free? I'm not looking for you to follow me. Follow your own instinct. Maybe you don't feel disrespected. Well, trust me, you're being disrespected every day. You got a home, 2-car garage, children in Catholic school. Did you get married in a Catholic church that you didn't attend and pay them to rent the church for your ceremony? And not even the point of religion, but the point of investments. Brothers, black people, and niggas are dying over Jordans, Air Jordans, rubber and plastic, and other things. Yes, niggas are dying, and they scared of revolution. Niggas wanna sing, niggas wanna dance, but you cannot calculate the amount of singing and dancing that black folks would do if they got the respect that is due. Cause niggas are still scared of revolution.
What's up? What's up? Yes, indeed. you got his lordship in the building. And I just want you to know that that was recorded in 1996. It was released in 1997. And that just lets you know how woke I was from day one. That was recorded in 1997. That was a lot of years ago. So if you want to doubt my blackness, as an artist or whatever, as a content creator, that's published. That is published. YouTube will notify me later about that song. That song was also re-released on vinyl with a foreign label, and when it came out on vinyl in 2001, we was able to hand the Last Poets a copy of that song, because the Last Poets made the original version in 1968, which was called Niggas Are Scared of Revolution, before I was born. But in 1996, I was a big Last Poets fan. I'm still a big Last Poets fan. Back in the day, all I listened to was Coltrane Last Poets. But anyway, I said, you know what? This whole album is still relevant, and niggas are still scared of revolution. Yes, everybody want to be Spike Lee, but nobody want to be Bruce Lee. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that song. So I said, let me do a tribute song in my own words to continue that message. So I continued that message in 1997. I published that song. I flew to Florida. I flew to Detroit. My buddy I do music with, he flew to Wisconsin and other places. I bought my own ticket and flew overseas, handed out CDs. When I first went to Europe, I bought my own ticket. I went to 25 record stores in France to spread messages like that. Okay? So, people like to have imaginary enemies and talk shit about imaginary people, and they don't want to be specific, and they can tell you these great leaders of these cults, and then they pick and choose which cult leader they want to respect and what cult leader they don't want to respect, and they're scared to say something on a current cult leader's name, even though he's incarcerated, if not dead already, because he know their people are still out there, and you got to watch your mouth, especially if you live on the East Coast, talking about certain cult leaders. You know what I'm saying? And Diva asked me not too long ago, she said, you ever done poetry or spoken word? And I said, yeah, I've been a rapper and a poet and a musician for a long time. And I wasn't afraid when people were releasing rap songs. I would do an album that had poetry, rap, music, different things on it, which wasn't cool. You would have to buy an import to get an album like that. If you wanted a very diverse black album, you would have to pay $25 and up. Other than that, you're going to get all gospel, all rap, or all R&B, or all country, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You would never get an album that's mixed or diverse. Anybody who tried it failed. You know what I'm saying? Horribly. And labels don't like to take risks. So I met a girl on the train, and I said, you know what, you look like you an artist or something. And she was like, yeah, I'm a poet, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, I'm working on this project. And this is from the same project. I said, maybe you can come by the studio. We got this studio we're using from midnight to 6 in the morning. A company, let us use their studio. My friend is the only black person that worked there. And because they let us use their studio, we was able to record this project. So I'm going to play the spoken word piece that we did together. We did a couple of duets. So this is one of two, and this is called mind over matter.
Here we go.
Let's see if that plays.
Here we go again with the Ebonic dialect.
What's
But
up?
this is another story on a totally different subject. This is about reality. Enlighten me with one of your stories, please.
A sheltered child, unstable in her walk. Stepdad creeps in and out of her sister's after dark. He tries penetrating flower as well, but she wasn't letting that devil into her world. Proceeds to tell her mother things that he did. All she said was, he loves me and the kids. Went away for the violation that he did. God violated more kids. Crimes on the rise, getting higher and higher. Now what do you think happened to those kids in Little Flower?
Those little kids fought for free cheese and powdered milk and flour. Those little kids fought to keep their sanity from verbally abused humanity. Latchkey children still contact high from the night before. Very tempted to sip the last drips of nitrate that's left in the cups. Do you think they had enough? Have they suffered in the concrete jungle, in the bungalows, the bungalows of pity, in the inner cities? It's a concrete jungle, and children are dying. Understand? Children are dying in the streets in every hood. Got to keep that word for policy understood and make it good. It's what we do. Stop tying up my revenue. Every step I take forward, the government's playing peekaboo. My attitude is kinda typical of this jungle, and I never been that humble to show my teeth upon the TV screen. See what I mean? Hollywood ain't respecting me, rejecting thee. Principles of my people, see. Now you should learn, you never could burn the sacred house of God. You can take those buildings, but you can't control the dialogue. I make the rhymes fat, I make the dime stack, no doubt. So baby, now this check it out.
Sad but true, the things he'll do. If he told anyone that he beat you, done once a month, turn to every day. Doesn't he know that crime's not the way? He gets mad because the bills don't get paid. Yet both work hard to make ends meet. Put shoes on the kids' feet and make sure there's decent meals to eat. Still not satisfied, he takes the money away and shoots the devil drug in his arm. On a daily routine, that's what he does. Snorts and shoots up all those drugs.
Lung capacity is ultimate. When intensity through the cords is ultimate. But it slips through my lips, I persist to listen, persistent. I continue to push buttons to provoke sparks in your mind. Cause your mind is ultimate. Your brain is a wax candle, the mind is the wick. Environmental stimulation puts atoms in motions. They click together, creating sparks. Your hardcore burns their stimulation, cruising out of the follicles of your hair to the tips of your locks. But are you ready to receive sevenfold that of which you radiate? Four seeds with sorcery creates an addition of three. Communication can clearly connect clans concretely at the center. Speed showing an unconscious route. So close your eyes, baby doll, and just check it out. And close your eyes, baby doll, and just slip on.
A man, black beautiful man, considered inferior to others, no matter where you stand. He must possess the powers of the land. His name, it doesn't matter, so let's not bother. He tries to be strong, but didn't have a father. His mother, unusual, unlike many, attempts to raise him and 6 others the best she could. Or did she? The money she had went towards winning food. Or did it? Uncle Sam wants you, that proves to be true. Forced to join the Marines.
From pyramids to prisons, from dynasties to projects, precincts and wards.
His lordship wasn't always a troll. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm ready now.
He wasn't always a troll. You know what I'm saying? And that goes all the way back. That goes all the way back to 1997, published. We printed up 2,000 copies of that album. And that's me and that poet. We also had a romantic song called On the Trip. That's on vinyl. I mean, that came out on CD in 97, but came out on vinyl in 2001. And both those poems were on the same vinyl that we gave to the Last Poets. And the main guy from the Last Poets said he was honored, which really blew my mind because, you know, he's a person of authority. He's a real conscious brother. So, I don't know why there's so much reverb on my voice, but we'll work that out somehow. We'll work that out. But yeah, people believe that all these people on a continent three times the size of the United States. People believe that people on a continent 3 times the size of the United States with 54 United States inside of it, you know, as far as like being called a country. It's 55 countries on this continent, and somebody want us to believe that all these people think about us and they hate us. Us meaning black people in America, even though I'm sure that they know we are all not the same, as well as they're not all the same. What's up, Black Edutainment? I'm glad you popped in. I played a couple of pieces at the beginning. Niggas Are Scared of Revolution, which was a tribute to the Last Poets. It came out in 1997 on CD. I took it overseas. I handed it out on the streets in Leicester Square, in the Bastille. I reached out to everybody, all my melanated people, gave it to them free, as well as took it to the stores, went to Virgin Records for a meeting and stuff like that. And then I had another song called Mind Over Matter, about the abuse inside the in the black household. And then I left out On a Trip, but since you showed up and I know you're a man of music, and since you showed up in the chat room, I could play the third poetry piece, because this album had rap, singing, poetry, instrumentals, and everything. But I don't want to go there. but On the Trip is the nicest one. It had none of these songs had samples in it, and On the Trip is on vinyl also, and it had a custom sine wave in the song. When we tried to press the vinyl, the needle kept jumping off the record, so we had to keep redoing the test press, because the sine wave made the needle actually jump off the record. So I'm dealing with the Apple player, which is pissing me off. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna play half of On the Trip, and then we'll move on to, I want to show you a Black American who's from Ghana, but he was raised in America, and then he kept going back to visit, and then, you know, he became an investment banker, and he helped build a nice community in Ghana. And he's not the only Black American who's built a community in Ghana. And I get my information about Africa from Wode Maya. To me, I consider him the expert, because he seemed like he the only one with some sense. Play the music. All right, so yeah, we'll move on to that next after this. So I'm gonna play On the Trip. The songs that I have played thus far has no samples in the song. All the sounds were custom designed, especially for this song. It was custom designed. We had rack mounts. All right, we was using a Mac G3, I think, back in the day, And yeah, that was way back. A G3 laptop. But we also had a SGI computer for animation too, so don't get it twisted. But anyway, here we go. On the trip, duet poetry, and right here.
Look, I'm tired. I just got back from vacation. Man, have you ever been?
Come on, Eddie. Eddie.
Starting over.
Yeah.
Come on.
What? Look, I'm tired. I just got back from vacation. Man, have you ever been on vacation?
Yes, I've been to the islands of Jamaica. Eddie.
What? Nah, see, they don't know that they're not listening to this. See?
Yes, they are.
Have you been on a real vacation? I mean a trip. Let me take you on a trip where the mind slips into a trance, where the brain cells dance to uneven heart repetitions. Let's break through the surface of your appearances and deal with the supernatural substance of your reality. Let me take you to a place where the skeletons play with your conscience. Come experience a new dimension. Walk with me to the other side. I will become your guide to the next plateau of realism. Let me take you on a trip where the mind slips.
To be trapped in a place you don't want to be. To be in a world with no destiny. To long for devotion that's never around. To wear a happy face upside down. To wish to die from day to day. If that's not peace, then help me find a way.
I will
I
show
can
you.
taste the magic as it unfolds, but I'm afraid.
Don't be
My
afraid.
road of desire is way too cold. Maybe to show a story many times told. Something tells me you're a liar.
No, I'm not.
My desire tempts me to be a tourist in a world of fire. They say the things that you run from, you run to. But what am I running? From what? To who? To who?
No need to run. No need to hide. Just let me take you on a journey deep inside your mind, where the mind slips into a trance, where the mirror speaks and eats the first person that shows fear or shed tears because of what they consider normal. Come travel with me to inner space. I lace with neon rainbow colors. See, my room is full of windows. Windows of exotic and three-dimensional oddities, exposing the hidden truth in ourselves. Are you scared yet?
No, not
I'll
yet.
let y'all come free. Come trip with me. I'll be your guide to the other side.
What side?
And I'll take you on that trip, on that journey. I'll take you to that place where your mind slips. Just take my hand and let me be the guide to the other side of your mind. 30 minutes to take off. Sit back. Relax. You have your flight plans. You have your flight ticket.
Yes.
I'm taking command of the Starship Enterprise. Don't be afraid to close your eyes. It's gonna be a beautiful ride. These are a few of my favorite things.
What's that?
To have a beautiful girl up in the wings. You have a window seat. And it's all good. I'm just gonna be quiet now.
Don't leave yet.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
It's your world now. I'm just a voice in the distance. What is reality?
What is
In
reality?
this world, there's no technicalities, just technicolor. Let me take you, and it's all good, on a trip.
That's wonderful.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Yeah. This keep playing. I have to catch it. I have to catch it before it plays over and over and over. Yeah, that was 1997. We had songs like All in My Pockets. What else? Hold on. We had songs like Too Much P. That was an acid jazz type of tune. We had Mood Swings. That was like some I don't even know. That was like some Paul Hardcastle, Herbie Hancock type thing. Much Too Young was very, very, very abstract. Like Much Too Young was a rap song, and it was a one-shot live recording in the penthouse. But I just wanted you to know that I was making conscious music and all that stuff way back, and I didn't. The whole album wasn't all rap, and it wasn't all conscious either. You know, I gave Too Short a shout out on Much Too Young, but all of this was sequence music. I don't think I used a sampler. Oh, I did use a sampler for Mood Swings because I sampled off Loose Ends. Where is this echo coming from? Everybody likes to bring up house. There was one house song on this, but it wasn't a full. It was like it started out house, and then it ended up like a slow gospel thing, like the tempo change. Like people don't even do tempo changes in songs. And we did find a authentic house type of singer too. You know, he was, but we stray away from house because a lot of us like to call anything different house, which was true in the beginning. House just meant any music played in the warehouse. They played hip hop and electronic music in the warehouse, but over time, house became a thing in a certain rhythm, and that came out of Chicago, and techno came out of Detroit. Yeah, Madonna is from outside of Detroit, near Detroit. She claims Detroit. But Detroit is not just known for Motown. After Motown came the electronic movement, and Detroit is the only city in America that has a techno festival because it's called Detroit Techno, and black people in Detroit invented techno. Just like black people in Chicago invented house. And just like black people in Baltimore invented Baltimore bounce. And DC, black people invented go-go. And I can go on and on and on. But the only people who appreciate this music is people outside of America. But in Detroit, people come from all over the world to listen to Detroit techno. And those black people make $30,000 or $40,000. They gotta last them to the next festival, and they still make vinyl. But Detroit is known for, there's a thing called Detroit rock. There's a black group called Death that invented punk rock music. And when they got tired of doing their music, they never called it punk, but it was punk. When they got tired of doing punk music, they switched to reggae. And even today, your white punk rock groups will start out punk, switch to ska or reggae. It's a normal pattern to do that. Oh yeah, that band called Death, one of their 45 records go for 800. If you can find one of their 45s, you can sell it for 800 right now. But I want you to know that minorities never stop making vinyl recordings. And the new trend is the 7-inch vinyl that you can play. You can have one side 33 and the third, and the other side could be a 45. Yeah, the band called Death. It's a 3-hour documentary about them. I have their album. The story is very. The story had me messed up. I mean, if you saw The Godfather on Netflix and you think that story was something, the story about Death, the band called Death, is just way more deeper than that. Removing the echo. And what's crazy about the band called Death is like their son was in California and he likes to listen to old rock groups, like underground rock groups, right? And this girl called him and said, "Hey, you got to hear this group." And when he was listening to it, he said, "Hey, this sounds like my father." He called his uncle and he said, "Did Dad make this song?" He said, "Yeah, that's your father." He said, "Man, this record goes for $800 on vinyl, 45." And he said, "What?" He said, who in the hell would pay that much for a record? If I had a copy, I would give them a copy. It took 32 years for that album to come out because they wanted to do what they wanted to do. Nobody wanted to support it. And you know how people say, go overseas, they'll love you overseas. Whenever a black person is creative and inventive and creative, you can never play your music uptown. I'm one of those groups. If you're not following stereotypes and doing the institutional thing, divide and conquer and the cliches and all of that, because it becomes a boutique. It becomes like a traveling magic show. I just never wanted to participate in that. But they say, go overseas, like they're gullible or slow overseas, like they ain't no black people overseas. But let me tell you, the Brother Johnsons, Terrence Trent D'Arby, the Weather Girls, everybody and their mama moved to Germany, the first ticket they got to live, so they can be all they can be as an artist. And you can't tell me the Brother Johnsons don't lay it down. If you want to see Rick James' greatest concert ever, Rick James, Hamburg, 1982. He did a concert there that he probably couldn't do in LA. His managers said, "Hey, nah, leave that out. Just get straight to Mary Jane." Just like Nina Simone. Nina Simone is a classical pianist. She didn't want to sing them old songs, them old blues songs and stuff. She wanted to play classical music at Carnegie Hall. She was taught how to play classical piano on the other side of the railroad tracks by a white teacher. So since she was left brain, right brain, and bipolar, she would sing folk songs and old hymns over classical music and mix it together, which I don't know how she did it. And then when the movement came, she told her Caucasian husband, "I can't be in the movement and still be married to you. We got to split up." And then she started making these pro-black songs, and her label got really upset because political songs don't make money. Trust me, I know. And this year will be the third year that I'm going to make commercialized songs. Like, matter of fact, this year is going to be the most commercial raps I ever wrote in my life. I don't care. I done did the underground thing. I already done proved that I can have 50 million metaphors and say 20 words per second. Now I'm going to rap in a way that can be translated no matter what country you're in. It's going to be more meaningful. The words are going to mean more. So whatever language you speak, it's just going to translate well no matter where you are. You're on the train in any country, on the plane. I'm going for BBC. Being on a Clear Channel owned radio station has never ever been my goal. Being on the local radio that reaches 600,000 households in my city, being on that station was never my goal. I've seen DJs and other artists get on that station and then they don't play them no more. And then after they did that, now they want to travel and nobody gives a damn about them anywhere else. But they thought they was the shit when they was on local commercial radio. My goal from day one was to be on BBC. I've been on BBC once, but I haven't been on regular rotation. But and I've been on some shit in Italy. But what I'm doing this year that probably get released next year, I'm going for heavy rotation on BBC and everything else, every cafe in the world, Spotify, all that shit. I mean, I'm on Spotify and all that stuff now, but I'm talking about with the hit though, like a commercial hit. That's what I'm going for. Yeah, I always been a rapper, but I kept getting tired of going over other people's house to record, because what can happen is the Tupac effect. You keep going over people's homes, next thing you know, they have recordings of your vocals, and luckily people were still using hardware recorders and CD recorders and DAT recorders and stuff like that. So I mean, if they had software like they had today, it'd be over. But I just got tired of you go over people's house and then their parents like, that dude that comes over from the projects from the other side of town. Yeah, well, I'm tired of him coming over here. I'm retired now, and he used to be one of my students. So, your other friends, your skateboarder, surfer friends, your white friends from this neighborhood, it's okay for them. And you guys can drink your 40, smoke weed. But that other guy that comes from the other side of town, I don't want him over here anymore. I don't want to see none of my old students. You know what I'm saying? And Frank stole my I don't know. But I'm just saying that that I never entered any talent shows. I only did fundraisers. I never sent a demo to a major record label to try to get signed. And I never catered. I never made a song that I know people would like this song just because of what. I know this is going to sound weird, but I never made a song just because I know people would buy it, even though it may be counter-revolutionary to my people in the long run as a whole. You got 100 songs that talk about killing, murdering, prostitution, selling dope, and all that shit. I didn't want to contribute to that pool, but I was not above making one song like that on any project. I just always felt it should be balanced, but that doesn't sell music. If I'm going to make an album, every song got to be about the streets, the game, killing, hustling. But I wanted diversity, but that never works. You could ask Pharaoh Monarch that. You could ask Gangstar that. You could ask, look, Public Enemy first album. Everybody that went political, they first album was Gangster. Public Enemy first album was Gangster. Karis One first album was Gangster. His DJ got killed. Then he wanted to go Malcolm X. Look up Public Enemy 98 Oldsmobile. They on Staten Island with shotguns standing by their 98 Oldsmobiles. There ain't nothing political about that. Yeah. Well, I don't want to give away locations and geological locations, but I remember there was a black guy his stepfather was a retired Sergeant Major Mason, and he lived in a nice Victorian, and he let his stepson do whatever he wanted. He had a big ass graffiti piece on his bedroom wall, and then it was a trend to put all the 40 ounces that you have drink on the top shelf across the wall. And I think, even though dude was black, I think I was his only black friend. You know, we went to high school together, but as far as like coming to his house, if you wasn't his relative, I think I was the only non-black relative that came over. And he was a DJ and had a drum machine. But I just got tired of I just got tired of you know, getting kicked out of people's houses, or people getting tired of me coming over or paying for a studio. So I had to learn. I said to myself that I can't be just a rapper. I need to learn everything. I already had a musical background since I was 6, and I went to the School of the Arts in high school playing the sax, and I learned everything I know about jazz from the late great jazz drummer Eddie Marshall. Was a huge influence on my way of listening to music. He taught me jazz class. I had music class 4 periods in high school. And then later on, when that album came out, the one that you just heard the 3 songs from, I hope that Key Dead Man rewind and catch that stuff. Another guy stepped in as a mentor. His name was Marcel East from Foreplay. But his thing was, you know, you're going to sign a contract. So if you come up off the knowledge I give you, I'm entitled to a certain percentage because I'm giving you the game. And so when he gave me the game about going overseas and stuff, you know, I said, oh, okay, because he went overseas. Every year he went to a thing called Meetum in France. It's a music festival. That's where you go. You don't go to the Winter Music Fest. You don't go to the South by Southwest. You go straight to France. And his brother is Nathan East, one of the top 5 bass players. And I'm sitting in his house in the panorama. Uncle Black may know this. Keith Edmonds says, amazingly, the political is just being appreciated. It goes through waves, but people appreciate it. It's just like somebody who can rap really well. You know, like if somebody rap, and they jumping you through hoops and loops and going down and up and through tunnels and jumping fences, you go, damn, that nigga dope. But when you go home, you can't remember shit he said, and you don't even know what the overall message was. You know, and you as a rapper, you go, but damn, I don't rap like that. I must be whack as fuck. But when you go see people like that, I can't think of their names right now, but like when you go see Supernatural and stuff like that, you can't tell me what was his last hit. You can't tell me what message did he bring to the people. You see what I'm saying? Even though you like listening to these people, you know. So I said, you know what? The songs that I'm going to write now, it took me all these years. It took me 100 years to get to this part. I'm going to write songs for people who like songs. I'm not going to try to impress my peers. I'm not going to try to impress other rappers. I'm not going to use words that will be outdated by the time the project gets released. You know, one song I did with this guy, it took him 6 years to release it. If I was using street slang, the song would sound corny when it come out because I'm using old slang. I said, when I make a song, I'm making it for the world. I'm not making it for the East Coast, the West Coast. I ain't making it for the hood. I ain't making it for the suburbs. I have a message I want to convey. I want the song to represent me and how I flow. So if you have a problem with the way I flow, and all my songs have double entendres and stuff like that, and metaphors, but if you think my flow is too simplified and all of that stuff, it took a long time to simplify my flow. You know, because every time I heard somebody dope, I wanted to sound like them. And you know how deep my voice is? When Far Side came out, I had a Far Side type of voice. When Big Daddy was hot, I had a Big Daddy type of voice. When Nas was blowing up and all these people, I said, I need to stop listening to these motherfuckers. And the only dude that I really liked his flow and his voice, because his articulation and his diction was so on point, and hopefully somebody in the chat will agree with me. The lead rapper from X-Clan, he made sure his sound was right when he performed, and you could understand. I guess it was Brother J. You could understand every single thing that he said, and his message came straight across and hit you in the face, and you didn't have time to think like his flow is whack or he ain't flipping the words like no, his wordplay ain't. No, Brother J was on point. Now, you want to compare Brother J to Public Enemy, you can say, yeah, he had a simple rap. You want to compare him to MC Hammer or somebody like that, you go, yeah, they rap was, too short, but they had their own style though. Give them credit for that. But Brother J, it didn't matter. It was how he said it and how clear you heard it and how the message translated into you. That was the most important. Who dad was part of the trio? Well, it's all good. It's all good. But the Boogie Woogie Piggly Wiggly Will Masterson Trio. That is a deep name. So, yeah, I can name rappers today that I like and stuff like that, but now, I swear to God, these rappers sound like they dropped out of the third grade. So when they have a simplified rap, it's because they don't know no better. Now there are some rappers, for some reason, I don't even want to talk about rappers, but one rapper, his father is like a leader in another country, or he's like have a high position in another country, and he come over here and act dumb to sell records. Even with Foxy Brown, her parents are professors in Trinidad or Tobago. I don't know which one. Probably Trinidad. A lot of these rappers be playing dumb just to sell a record. I can't do it. I ain't taking no corny pictures to sell a record. If I do that, I do that for myself, for my own turn, because it's just because I want to be weird. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, De La Soul carried purses and stuff. Nobody said Nathan. Biz Markie dressed like an 8-year-old. Nobody said Nathan. He like Alan Greer. I forgot the comedian, from the In Living Color. But, Big Daddy Kane wrote his lyrics, and, when Big Daddy Kane was hot and all that shit, I sat down. But I ain't never tried to be the best rapper and enter contests. I did belong to freestyle groups, like freestyle, like you show a card at the door to let you in, and they have a freestyle session on stage. But there was always a group of people that never understood what freestyling was. They always thought freestyle meant rapping for free, and they would go up there and kick all their little written rhymes would drive me nuts, But because we sit there scratching our head like, what do you think? You don't know if So anyway, I want to play this little clip from Wold Maya. And he's interviewing a guy who moved from the States to Ghana to build a suburb, basically. And this is not the only one. He has several properties, and there's other black people who's collaborated with people in Ghana to build communities like this. So check this out.
I have been telling you that it's time to make Africa home again. I think I need to make a t-shirt and call it what the Maya says, make Africa home again. There's nothing that you can do out there to change this mind of mine. It's time. Both Africans in the diaspora and Africans on the continent to make Africa home again. You know, anytime I want to do videos like this, I get super excited. This is Foster Homes and it's owned by one of the returnees. And this is why I've been telling you, it's time to come back here and do something to change the face of the continent, because we all are looking for a better Africa, and that better Africa depends on you and I. Come with me, let me go show you the owner, man. This is incredible. Like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know why I get super excited when I need to do videos like this. Come with me. Hey, is it automatic, bro? Open for me now. Thank you.
Make Africa home again.
Hey,
Africa,
bro,
Africa home again.
I think you said this in room 1.
Make Africa home again. Africa, Africa
Hey,
home again, baby. Africa home again.
hey, in my village, we don't have anything like this, but I still have to press. Eesh. Let me clean my hand. Can you see? Hey, is that a camera?
I gotta pause it for a second because there's an ad. But give me 1 second.
What am I? What am I?
I am Maya. Hey, good to see you, man.
Great seeing you, bro.
I'm so happy to see you. My goodness, what? This is where you live?
Yes, this is one of my properties.
One of your properties,
Yes,
which means
yes,
you have
yes.
several properties.
Yeah, something like that. We have a community here.
This is incredible. I mean, I will want to talk to you. You used to be based in America,
Yes,
and you're back now in Ghana.
3 years.
You achieved this in 3 years?
We have, yes. This is actually 2 years in the making, but I moved down in 2017 and I've been loving it.
Can we sit somewhere and talk?
Absolutely.
Thank you. My brother, man, I can't believe I'm sitting on a chair like this. So in my village, we don't have anything like this. How much does one cost now?
Oh, it's chicken change. It's chicken change. It's chicken change. Yeah.
I really want to know you. All I know is you used to be in America and now back in Ghana, and you're doing an amazing job in here. But first of all, you need to tell me your name, where you're from, literally your story.
Sure. So, Wode, I don't know how you ended up in our neighborhood today, but we're glad to meet you. I've followed you for a number of years, and I mean, you're doing fantastic things for the continent. As it relates to me, I'm Neil Oku. I actually was born in the US, but I came to Ghana when I was young, 2 or 3 years old. Grew up here, back and forth, and then finally I went to university and in the US. Right after I was on Wall Street, I recruited into one of the biggest investment banks at the time, and it was my goal to really aspire and thrive there. I was there for, I would say, about 12 years, and something really just drove me to look at broader horizons. I was really yearning to be back on the continent. So I would say I up and, moved back to Ghana.
I don't believe this. You're working for an investment bank.
That is correct.
Was your salary too small to the extent that you want to stay in America?
Wode, I can't really complain at all. I must say I was doing very, very well. I was living the American dream. Everything that one would think, I was the youngest senior vice president in my whole division. Everybody I worked with was very, very supportive of me. But I was yearning for more. Seeing billions of dollars on a screen doesn't really, do the same as making your own dreams materialize. So I thought to myself, where could I actually make a difference? Where could I bring a new form of innovation, a new form of thinking? And where else than where I was accustomed to, in my home country of Ghana.
How was life in America?
Wode, I can't complain. I mean, America was great while it lasted. It was a good experience, but nonetheless, I always think back to the difficult patches where, am I really as good as everybody thinks I am? Is it because I'm a black person in a room that I'm, saw or treated a certain way? It really made things a conceptual decision for me. And overall, I thought I should come back and be amongst my people and really strive to be better. That's what I really hope for.
Were you living or surviving in America?
When it came to salary, I can definitely say I was living. I was one of what they call the top earners. But salary is not life. You wake up in the morning, you go to work, you're on a train with hundreds of.
I don't want to get too far. I don't want to get too far into that video, but if you want to know more about that, there is the channel is called Wode Maya. I get a lot of information that I trust from this YouTube channel, WODE space MAYA. And Wode Maya basically means a tribute to my mother. I love my mother. The name of this video is called How an American Investment Banker Built Ghana's First Smart Home. So they all don't hate us, and they all don't say we got enough of us here. We don't need you. And there's another video about an African American firm and a Ghanaian partner on a 30 million luxury estate that really looks nice. He always take his drone and fly over this stuff. So yeah, he has tons of videos, and every now and then I feature his videos. Like he went to the weave shop in China. Now, some of you guys heard of him before, but may have forgotten. Because you might ask why the black sector never heard of this guy or talk about this guy. Well, guess what? The black sector used to go in on this guy because he married a Chinese girl at one time and he learned Chinese in 3 months. But if you overlook that, he was giving you all the game on how to have a business in China, because if you're not born in China, you can't have a business. But he gave you the game on having a business there, how to survive there, learning the language, the do's and don'ts, getting arrested, getting accosted by pimps, all kind of stuff like that, and how to take advantage of being so unique. If you could speak the language and you do like Jimmy Walker and insult yourself every 5 minutes in front of them and tell them how great their country is, you can really go far in China. You see, one day I will have my hairstylist, who is an Igbo princess by blood, tell the slavery story from their perspective. Yeah, that would be interesting because we all have perspectives. But this dude go, like, there's a beach that you can only go to by boat in Nigeria, and they have bonfires and great parties, and there's no fights and shootouts, and it only costs like $2 on a boat to get there. Like, I've learned so much about different places in Africa, and he's trying to unify Africans. See, everybody say Africa this and Africa that, and they speak of Africa like it's a state or a country, but it's a continent with 55 countries, and they're very separate. They know the difference between each country in themselves. I mean, in Ghana alone, there's 100 different dialects. There's one unified language, but there's 100 languages. So even in Ghana alone, they're not holding hands, singing in harmony like it's an old Coca-Cola commercial. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what Key is saying. Yeah, and I looked at I hear you, Key, and I looked at the map where the slave ships came in, like the river and stuff they went up. They didn't go deep into Africa. They went as far as they could go, you know, American soldiers went further into Vietnam, um, but in Africa they stayed around the coastal. They stayed by the beaches. There was only one river they dared to go up, and they didn't go up that far. If you tried to measure how far they went up into Africa to get slaves, I would probably say they only entered 0.7%, and that's quite generous. You know what I'm saying? That's being very generous. And I don't even want to go down the slave. I don't even want to do the slave debate. But I'm just saying that this guy been arrested in several different African countries. And if Africa was so united, he would never got arrested in these countries. A lot of these countries arrested him for extortion because it looked like he got money. So when he have his drone and his laptop and stuff, they said, oh, we can get a couple of dollars out of him. Only Nigeria treated him with respect and gave him his stuff back. One African country kept his drone. He had to buy another. And Africa don't let him... The country that he's in, Ghana, don't let him get AdSense from YouTube. I don't think anybody in Africa can get AdSense. So he uses he makes, I don't want to give the game away, but he used a VPN thing to make it look like he's in another country so he can get his AdSense. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, there's stereotypes about Nigerians. All Nigerians ain't the same, but look, if you think people are nervous when Nigerians come in the States or in England and think that they're con artists or whatever, well, when a Nigerian goes to Kenya or Mozambique or Uganda or Niger or Liberia, they looking at that Nigerian sideways too. When I was in Germany and we saw an Asian lady trying to park at a rest stop and she almost hit this Mercedes, we're all looking at her sideways too. When they pulled in, we was looking at, and the Asian lady had Mary Kay on her car too. She was a Mary Kay salesman. And we looking at her like, can she drive? So the stereotype is not just in the States. Okay? And you want to hear something that's really funny? In Switzerland, a lot of the cab drivers are Turkish, right? And when we was in Switzerland, our entourage was full of either mixed people, mixed with, I can't even remember. Everything in German, you know, Turkish and German, Japanese, German, whatever, right? And then we had some German people with us. But the guy, the main investor of the label was with us, and we had been drinking. And when we got into the Turkish cab, which was Mercedes, all the Mercedes looked like brand new E-Class Mercedes in Switzerland. That's how much money they got. The Turkish dude put his hand out as the German guy got in the passenger seat, and the Turkish taxi driver had the nerve to say, "Don't slam my door." Now, that's an insult because Mercedes is from Germany. The guy that was with us is German. You from Turkey. What car did your country invent? Or did your country even invent gasoline? So not only Germany invented the car, because the first car actually came from Germany, they invented rocket fuel and gasoline and freeways. And this Turkish dude gonna tell the German dude, "Don't slam my door." I was cracking up. I said, I ain't never seen these kind of racial dynamics. You know what I'm saying? And we have a lot to learn. I'm still learning, and we have to worry about xenophobia. And because, you know, you may be the smoothest player with the wordplay, talking to the ladies in America, talking to your sister, and then you be in France in the Bastille and you talking to your Moroccan sister, right? And then your West Indian brother you know, a lot of people think West Indies are in Africa, but West Indies is in like South America. But you talking to your West Indian brother, he already know he's a bigger player than you. He already know the lingo. He come up to the Moroccan girls and say something to them and kiss them on both cheeks and sit down. He got on the Dolce & Gabbana jean outfit, all the shit, and he hand them a couple of flyers, and then in French he say, "Who's this? You know, who's this dude? Oh, he's some guy promoting his music. He's traveling. Oh, well, have him come by the party." And they hand me a flyer, and it said he was promoting a party that said Malcolm McLaren, De La Soul, and you know that other group, you know, the Scenario group. And I was like, oh shit, what the hell I done walked into? I said, I ain't going to that party. I'd never make it back to America. I'd never go home. I went to my hostel. I did not go to that party. Malcolm McLaren, De La Soul, and well, yeah, I meant the Caribbeans, Key. I stand corrected. I meant the Caribbean. You're absolutely right. But you meet so many West Indian people in London and France that you would think that it's a part of Africa, but we must remember that London has the second largest carnival celebration, and they do it so big they had to change the name because the English people started to feel some kind of way. But they're nice, beautiful people. When I went to London, I can't think of the area I went to, but I went to the area where Soul to Soul and Loose Ends is from. I wanted to see if it was similar to Detroit. And the Nigerians was too busy getting their money and hustling. I ain't gonna say they was mean to me or nothing, because in America, the Nigerians is cool as hell with me, everybody. But in London, they was too busy being about their money. But the West Indian people, they treated me like a long lost cousin, showed me Big Ben, everything, man, made sure I was cool and on cloud nine, and it was just all good. See, this is what I like. I got smart people in my rooms. Key always, if the left hand don't hit him, the right hand will. Instead of just throwing up emojis and putting symbols in the room, people bring information to the table. And when I'm wrong, I don't have a problem to conceding to the fact. And I don't have a problem saying I stand corrected. And I like when I do a show where I'm not only trying to share some information, I'm receiving. It's a mutual thing. I don't have a bunch of zombies in the chat room just kissing my ass so other people watching can think that I'm large. Because I wasn't aware of that mass immigration. But now it all makes sense. Now, my other show I did, it gave too much information away. I had to put it on private. I did 2 shows. One show was glitching out early in the morning, and so I did a secondary show. So I later on, maybe not this show, I am going to repeat some of the videos that I showed. I showed a video of a protest that I filmed, and then I did a vlog. I was riding around a track around the football field, and I was giving my opinions about certain things. But I'm not going to repeat that at this moment, but the next time I'll go live, because I know not too many people saw that. But I just want to say that it's been real. I did have some information here to read about the other guy who, because, you know, I read on Flipboard all the time, and Eduardo Sovereign, who was the other partner from Facebook, the co-founder. He doing it big in Singapore right now. And also, you know, one of the biggest ships in the ocean was just sunken, in a hidden location because this ship started to leak oil and ruined 30-something kilometers worth of coral reef. And then when they tried to fix it, the ship split in half and did 10 times more damage. Then these fools take the ship, Japanese, take the ship out into the ocean to sink it at a hidden location. But there's a French island nearby. It's going to affect their fishing and everything for years. We don't know what an old ship that's decomposing, that still have poisonous materials on it, metals, how is that going to affect that island, our ecosystem, our ocean? Our ocean got enough trash and enough problems. But hats off to the Japanese for messing up our, for polluting the earth again. First it was the nuclear disaster, thanks to GE selling them nuclear power factories or making the factories for them. Now they had the biggest ship in the world leaking oil, destroying our coral reef, and the investigation is still pending, but they take the ship out to some hidden location and sink it. And China trying to step their game up, and the leader warns that the world's second biggest economy is facing a period of turbulent change, and that rise in external market risks require policymakers to increasingly rely on domestic demands to spur growth. So they said they're gonna focus more on their own people who like to buy counterfeit cars. They like the front of their car to look like a Ferrari and the back of their car to look like a Porsche. They sell twice as many. If we got 40 cars on the market, they got 210 cars on the market, and a lot of their cars are knockoffs of American and foreign cars. And their cars are cheap too. So, you know what I'm saying? If you paying $30,000 for a Kia, you can get a fake Kia for probably $6,000 brand new with the same shit on it. So they still using coal factories. They still have cars with exhaust issues. They are one of the biggest contributors to our pollution. And but anyway, in lighter news, the new electric Rolls Royce is coming out. All right. There's only going to be 30 of them so far because they took some old Rolls Royces and stripped it down to the body, to the bare metal, and built it back up. I guess they only could find 30 copies of this model. But yeah, it's looking tight. I'm looking at it right now. It's Lunaz, Lunaz, 300-mile electric drive sparks a new life into classic Rolls Royces. Wow. And this is not a model car. This is the car. And it's big too. And it looked like something out of the 1930s, really. And it's supposed to be more than just a showpiece. Pack enough power and range for practical on-road touring, whether driven by its owner or by their personal chauffeur. And this has been, they put out a sneak peek last October, and the company announced that the official start of production on 30 planned fully electrified Rolls Royces. They call them a Restomods. The models will include classic Phantom and Silver Clouds and various body styles from four-door limousine to drop-head coupes. Oh, so they're all not going to look the same, but it's going to be 30 different models of Rolls Royce. Well, I heard that. Well, I'm going to check out right here. But, I just wish these people, there is something about the stimulus I think I want to mention, but I just wish these people who have these imaginary enemies and putting out these paper threats, and, if your channel is so popular and you're so popping and people come to you because you bring the important stuff and you don't participate and the drama, even though there's a long history that you can't avoid. Why do you have to insult imaginary people? Like, I know hit dogs will holler, but you ain't slick. People be saying certain keywords and key phrases that they know that certain people will catch. You know what I'm saying? And then they turn around and say, well, why you listen? You know, if I don't like a certain channel, well, when certain things happen to me, when people treat me, if people ain't like hospitable to me when I show up, well, I actually listen more. If you don't want me to listen, treat me well when I show up. Shout me out, you know, give me a glass of water. If you treat me bad, that's when I really pay attention, because I know, you know, that I discover fuck shit when I see it, when I hear it. So if you don't want me, you know, people insult me and try to keep me away, because when I hear the fuck shit, I'm going to mention it. But if I'm treated well, I don't mention it. So, and that's proof. Like, all the people that treat me well and treat me good, they could be the worst person on earth, but because they treat me well, I don't say nothing. You see what I'm saying? You see how that works? So treat me bad, then I pinpoint, then I pay close attention, and if you really ain't keeping it real, because I don't know how people can be dissing one guy, like what's his name, the guy who they said committed suicide in jail, the billionaire that owns the islands and stuff like that. You know, on one hand, you diss this guy for being a pedophile, and then you go after a weak guy who really has no power for being an alleged pedophile. But then there's another guy you mentioned who's a convicted pedophile, and you won't say nothing bad about him because you scared his people may come after you. See, I listen. I pay. Oh, Epstein. You know, this person mentioned York and Epstein in the same breath, but complimented York. You know what I'm saying? He goes after Nature Boy's neck, which is powerless. York was powerful, but he watched his mouth when he mentioned York, and then he said something about Epstein. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, they probably kill her off too. Like, some people would say, nah, they can't kill both of them back to back like that. It'll look too suspicious. No, there were like some people that knew something. There was like 11 people that knew something involved in the government, and 7 or 8 of them, they said, committed suicide. Matter of fact, it was something that they saw on the dark web. They had busted someone, and they were looking at his computer, and they said that these people, 7 out of 11 people who did the investigation that saw the actual footage, they said that those people couldn't live with themselves. I think they were murdered, just like the reporter who discovered that Freeway Ricky Ross was being used by the administration to raise money for the Contra Wars. So when that reporter came out with the story, they ruined his life for about 7 years, and then to develop a narrative, and then they said he committed suicide. But how do you shoot yourself in the head twice? He lost. First, they waited for him to ruin. They helped ruin his marriage, everything. You know, lose his job. He lost his job when he got a Pulitzer. He gave the Pulitzer back. It's really the newspaper fault, because when they released the story, the artwork they used was a crack pipe sitting on top of a CIA dossier, which gave the impression that he was blaming the CIA for crack in Los Angeles. But he did not approve that picture. He didn't even know they was going to use that picture. They set him up, and then they got scared after that, and they killed him, but they said it was suicide. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? For all we know, Epstein, they used a body double and he's alive somewhere else with a new identity, for all we know. If he really got friends like that, then he's not dead. They just used somebody else, killed them, and gave him life somewhere, God knows where. It was already set up. He already had it out. People who live like that, they already have a out plan. That's what I believe. For themselves, personally. Now, she may not have an out plan. But he made sure, he told her, look, don't live your life like a guilty person. You didn't, you good. I got you. But him, he was so smug and so sure of himself. And the circle of people that he communicated with and socialized with, I would believe that he got away with it before I can say that Tupac is still alive and Michael Jackson is still alive and all of that stuff. This dude really had the money and the connections to fake his death. And the type of jail he was in, those people are underpaid and overworked. It's easy to slide them some money. One of the guys already got busted for falsifying documents concerning his death. And the wounds on his neck is not consistent with someone who have hung himself. Just like the guy in that played in Kung Fu in Singapore. He was too heavy to choke himself to death in that hotel room. He probably had a sack of money that, when you shoot films in Singapore and you some, actor from America, sometimes you don't want the government involved, and they'll give you a sack of money to pay you for your role in the movie. And if you got a girl over and she know you got money and she go let her boys know, you can end up coming up short in Singapore, because they do got some hardcore gangsters in Singapore. Her story and involvement is deeper than his. She has an out if he did. Okay, well, we all saw Breaking Bad. And you see how there's a go-to person to arrange your disappearance. And I believe that when it comes to people like them, it will go as far as a body double, a body replacement. Just like Michael Jackson, he used his old lookalike who died 2 years prior. They kept his body on ice at that facility that preserves cryonics, the cryonics facility, which is in Los Angeles, which his donation kept that business in business, so they don't have a problem storing a body for him. These are very smart and connected people. When Michael Jackson became Muslim, nobody really knew. He moved to the desert for a year or two with his children. You wouldn't even recognize him. Nobody knew that, And when he faked his death, that was probably one of the first places he went back to the desert, with his friends. His sister had already married one of his friends, and got $500 million out of that. Grandma disappeared for 3 months. You think she was in Arizona at a retreat for 3 months, bored out of her brain? She was with her son either in Arabia or Canada. The vacuum guy. Oh yeah, the vacuum guy. Look, I've seen Breaking Bad, You Better Call Sal, and I've seen El Camino. That's my shit. And I like the dude who owned the chicken restaurants. The one that poisoned the bosses and himself at the same time. I said that before. You know what I'm saying? I really identify with that dude. He's very smart. So, on that note, I'm going to sign out using the Moe's intro because, believe it or not, the Moes are still together. We just haven't been to the office. You know how you got the Shriners temples and the Mason temples? they sit empty for a long time until they have a meeting. Maybe once of every 3 or 4 months they have a meeting, but that place is just sits there in all its beauty, and that's what the moles do. We have a hangout that we can go to, but it sits empty. But I want to give a tribute to the moles. They know who they are. Yes, please catch the beginning, because even you, Key, listen to the beginning. I want you to hear how conscious I was in 1996, 97, and what I was doing lyrically in 1996 and 97. Because I've been consistent all my life. That's all. So anyway, peace and hair grease. Shout out to the moles and Ferris in the building and people in the background that's watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I have no beef with anyone, but if people want to hold a grudge against me for some little things that I've done, which is very minor, especially if you look at yourself compared to me, you need to let that go, because it would be a good thing to do. Peace and hair grease.